everybody, and welcome to MelTheBombshell. Today's video, I wanted to talk about my top games of 2022 so far. So just a little bit before I get too far into the video, I want you all to know that not all of these games have been released this year in 2022. A lot of the games on this list are older titles, older games, a couple years old at least, that I've just taken the time to play through in 2022, and these games have been a big part of the games that I've played and the time I've spent gaming in the year 2022. So the first game that I want to talk about is the game that I've probably spent the most time in this year, and that game is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a 2018 role-playing game. It's an action-adventure game where players assume the role of Alexios or Cassandra, mercenaries on a quest for vengeance. As players explore an open-world environment in ancient Greece, they interact with characters, infiltrate enemy bases and strongholds, and kill human enemies. Players use swords, spears, and bows to kill enemy soldiers and bandits in melee-style combat. Players also use stealth attacks to dispatch enemies discreetly. So I've spent a ton of time in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I always find something new to do and some fun to be had every time I log on. It's a very big game where a lot of hours can be spent into the story. And if you were to go through and replay it as the other character option, then you have a completely different story with more things to be enjoyed and different experiences for you to have. So this game has a ton of hours of gameplay and a ton of fun to be had. In addition to that, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a very affordable game and it won't cost that much, so like the hours per dollar is insanely amazing. So I actually started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey because I was really interested in the Assassin's Creed series and I wanted to try out one of the games. My brother actually had this game and he let me borrow it to see what I thought about the Assassin's Creed games, and I got absolutely hooked. I've put dozens and dozens of hours into the main story and the side quest in this game and have enjoyed every minute of it. The game looks amazing and plays amazing, and it's altogether just a great buy and probably my favorite game of 2022 so far. The second game that I want to talk about is actually a 2022 release, and that game is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So you may have seen my previous review of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands already, so you know the main things that I have to say about this game. But if not, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is a action-adventure, role-playing, first-person shooter game. In the game, bullets, magics, and broadswords collide across this chaotic fantasy world brought to life by the unpredictable Tiny Tina. Roll your own multi-class hero and loot, shoot, slash, and cast your way through outlandish monsters and loot-filled dungeons on a quest to stop the tyrannical Dragon Lord. Some of the most fun parts of this game are all the weapons that you get to choose from and the customization of the hero that you play as through the game. It's just so diverse and fun, where there are so many characters that you can make and play as in the game and so many different character builds that you can create. This game has so much replayability. It's almost like a never-ending game, unless you get tired of the story. Which the story is also pretty lengthy, like, you know, a decent amount of time for a game, so I feel like this game is completely worth the purchase and extremely fun. Sometimes whenever I need a game that I just want to zone out to or just really get into and have fun in this fantasy world, I'll choose to go back to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and maybe do any of the side quests I haven't done or do anything that's still left for me to do within the game. There's also a ton of open world exploring, which I always find as a bonus in games, so this really adds to the fullness and wholeness that the game brings together. This is why Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is probably my top pick for games released in 2022 that I've played so far anyway, on this list of my favorite games of the year. The next game that I want to talk about is actually a game that I've gotten into pretty recently and have been playing a ton. This game is LEGO City Undercover. I'm playing LEGO City Undercover on the Nintendo Switch in both handheld and docked mode, which makes the game more fun because I can pick it up and play whenever I want to. In LEGO City Undercover, you play as Chase McCain, a police officer who's been tasked with going undercover to hunt down the notorious and recently escaped criminal Rex Fury and putting an end to his city-wide crime wave. Explore the sprawling open-world metropolis that is LEGO City, with more than 20 unique districts to investigate, car thieves to bust, hilarious movie references to discover, vehicles to drive, and hundreds of collectibles. LEGO City Undercover brings together witty, original storytelling with signature LEGO humor to create a fun-filled experience for players of all ages to enjoy. LEGO City Undercover also gives players the option to play as a lot of different character types, and each character type has its unique abilities. In missions, you'll combine these unique abilities and change your character type in order to complete all the objectives for that mission. I find LEGO City Undercover to be super fun. I've heard some people say that it's the LEGO version of GTA. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but I do think it is a completely fun game and that you can spend tons of time just exploring the city or going through missions over and over again to make sure that you collect everything. Super fun game, highly recommend, definitely one of my favorite games of 2022 so far. The next game that I want to talk about is Ratchet Clank. You may be wondering which Ratchet Clank game I mean by this, but really I mean all of them. Once I got my PlayStation 5 and was playing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, it really got me wanting to play and replay all of the Ratchet & Clank games of the past. So not only did I have a fun time and really love playing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, but I've also played the PS4 Ratchet & Clank game, and I've been playing the Ratchet & Clank collection and other games that are part of the Ratchet & Clank series on the PlayStation 3. So whenever I say Ratchet & Clank, I just mean any Ratchet & Clank game basically. I really enjoy the characters and the overall storyline that goes in all of the Ratchet & Clank games. I like the 3D platforming mixed with unique weapons and shooting. So I feel like all Ratchet & Clank games have some sort of experience that is super fun and just a really fun spectacle to enjoy. Some people may not agree with all of my opinions about Ratchet & Clank. Some games are supposedly bad and some are great and whatever, but I just enjoy the overall spectacle of all the Ratchet & Clank games. So to me, Ratchet & Clank games probably won't ever be bad, but I've played multiple Ratchet & Clank games so far this year, and that is why Ratchet & Clank definitely makes it into my top games of 2022 so far. The last game that I want to talk about is a game that was released in 2022, and that game is Rune Factory 5. Rune Factory 5 is a Nintendo Switch exclusive title where you can do basically anything you want to. There is fast-paced RPG combat, fantasy levels of farming, like a home space that you get to decorate and live in, and there's even like a dating sim aspect to it where you get to find a spouse. Not only do you make friends and farm and all that, but this is actually the first Rune Factory game to really be in full 3D. So it adds a new aspect to the Rune Factory series and adds new elements to the gameplay that weren't experienced before. Since this game is like really a forever game where you always have something to do, this is really like a time sinker, and one of the games that I've played a lot and keep coming back to playing. So that is why I think Rune Factory 5 is one of my top games of this year, since I've spent so many hours into it. Even though it has performance issues, I still think Rune Factory 5 is a great game overall, and I think that if you are interested in it, go ahead and buy it, because it likely won't go on sale that often. Anyway, so those are my favorite games that I've played in 2022 so far. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye!